It's day 718. Leon the lobster has been living with me almost 2 years now. Leon and I have a great relationship, but there are days that he's just not into my games. Watch this. I tried to sneak a camera in Leon's living room today, and, well, I didn't think he would find it that fast. And Leon is like a lot of other big stars and celebrities. He's really not into the paparazzi. He'll smack a camera out of his face. Here he shows me exactly what he thinks of my camera. He checks it out, says it's a crap camera, not worthy of recording his images, and then he hauls it over to the trash pile with his empty shells. I'm like, Leon, baby, this is your show. He's like, man, I'm just not into it tonight. Check with me tomorrow. Seriously though, I am so pleased and amazed Leon has survived and thrived for 2 years since being rescued from the grocery store. All right, so we'll move on to the kittens. When Baxter, Abby, and Bobby the karate cat moved out of the Woods house, a feral female cat started coming there regularly. And one day, she did what I was hoping she would not do. She brought her kittens with her. Watch the last kitten. I'll definitely open up a can when I have to. Southerners will know what that means. But all of my life I've tended to have empathy for those we share this world with that might need a helping hand. Animals in particular. This little kitten clearly needs a helping hand. The Woods house literally sits in the middle of the woods, so I don't know where or how far these kittens came from. My immediate impression, though, was this little injured kitten isn't going to last very long out here. It's not able to move fast enough or climb a tree to safety if it needs to. I wanted to do something to help these kittens, but the problem was they're all very feral, wild, and she didn't bring the kittens back for over a week. So I couldn't make a solid plan for trapping them. I didn't know when they would show up again, and I didn't just want to set a random trap out here. First, if I catch the mother and not the kittens, then the kittens will be stuck somewhere without any food. She looks like she's still nursing. And also, if I just set a random trap, I'm going to be catching raccoons and possums all night long. So, I just started setting food out on the deck, and after about a week and a half, she brought the kittens back again. And after they got a taste of wet cat food, the kittens started showing up randomly on their own. I also kept a log of when they would show up. It was random. There was no pattern at all, but they were at least showing up, so that was something I could work with. I modified the trip trigger on an old live trap I had, so I could pull the trap door manually from an upstairs window when the kittens went in. I also set a motion sensor camera out that would beep my phone when something came on the deck. I wanted to get the 3 kittens first before I got the mother cat, because if the mother cat was spooked off, then the kittens may never show up again. Also, if this trapping thing didn't go very well, I wanted to at least be able to get the little injured kitten. There was no kitten action for several days. I could have caught the mother cat several times. And she even brought just one kitten once. But I stuck to plan and held out for the kittens first. Then one evening, my phone alarm went off. It was a single black kitten. I couldn't tell if it was the injured kitten or the other black one, though, from my view upstairs at the time. Do I pull the rope on this one and take the risk of the others being spooked and never coming back? Boom. I decided yes. Obviously, it started going crazy, but ultimately it was for the best. I took the whole trap inside the house and to the little upstairs bathroom. It was a small space that I could let this kitten out of the cage in. This little feral kitten was terrified and basically in shock. I held it for a little bit and I sat it down on the floor, and it ran and wedged itself in between the vanity and the wall in a tiny space. I closed the bathroom door and gave it some time to calm down and assess its new surroundings. Then I ran to the local store and got a disposable litter box and some more cat food. After catching one kitten, I figured I was all done for the night. The two other kittens were not likely to come. So I just lifted the trap door and locked it into place so a raccoon didn't actually get stuck in there overnight. Then, surprisingly, later that night, my phone alarm went off again. It was the gray kitten, and limping along behind it was the little injured kitten. I couldn't believe it. I had the other two kittens in the trap now, and I was totally not ready. The trap trigger wasn't set to be pulled easily, but I tried for it anyway. I yanked the rope hard, and the door released. Now I had the other two kittens, all three in the same night. Crazy. When I moved them inside, they calmed down quite a bit, likely just fear and shock. They weren't too afraid to eat, though. They were starving, absolutely skin and bones, but little survivors. This is the little injured kitten. It's missing its foot right at the joint, unfortunately. It seems to be healed over, though, not a fresh or infected wound. The next morning when I came in to check on them, two of them were up on top of the mirror cabinet. They opened the mirror door and climbed up the shelves. The injured kitten apparently wasn't able to make that climb. I weighed them. The injured kitten weighs 1.5 pounds, or just 0.68 kilograms. The healthy black kitten weighs 1.9 pounds, and the gray kitten weighs 2.2 pounds. I was very happy to have been able to catch all three of them. I packed them up and took them down to the Georgia house to meet Leon. As soon as I got there, we set up an isolated room and we let them settle in. It was feeding time for Leon. He comes right over, says a quick hello, and grabs his shrimp up. The largest of the little crabs comes out and gets his chunk of shrimp too. The dynamics between these two is getting interesting. They both know the other is there, and they seem to coexist. The little crab knows when to duck into its lair for safety. And the very tiniest crab peeks from its safe place, hoping a small piece might float by. We skimmed the kittens for fleas. Surprisingly, there weren't a lot. Then we gave them all baths. Notice how skinny they are. The bathwater got dirty fast. Here is a close look at the injured leg. It's really impossible to know what happened here. Could have been caught in a rat trap under someone's house, attacked by a raccoon, or attacked by an angry tomcat. I've also heard about issues with kittens during birth. What do you think? In addition to the adventure of catching the kittens, I broke down Leon's old 125-gallon aquarium and brought it to the Georgia house too. I set this up in my office. Right now I'm going to use it as an experimental tank. I've been totally fascinated by the little ecosystem that has appeared from the beach scraps and shells I put in Leon's aquarium earlier. So that's likely going to be the theme. I also like having this aquarium here as a safety tank for Leon, in case anything catastrophic ever happened with his larger aquarium. Baxter recognizes it from the other house and checks everything out. This aquarium ran for a month with the filters on, and the substrate has been alive for almost 2 years, so this aquarium is basically established. I moved a pregnant glass shrimp from Leon's aquarium over to this one to see if her babies would hatch and grow in this warmer water. And I turned off the filters and added an air pump so they wouldn't get sucked into the filter. When I'm at the seafood market, I always see piles of oysters on ice labeled live oysters. I'm curious if there is actually anything still alive in the shell or on the shell after being out of seawater and packed on ice for a few days. This whole journey with Leon has never been a jab at the meat or seafood industry. I do scratch my head when I see octopus for sale as a food though. I understand lobster, it's delicious. What is there to eat that warrants the octopus's life though? What are your thoughts? First, I put in 3 oysters that were labeled from Louisiana. New Orleans is about 800 miles from here, so these have obviously been on ice for a while, probably a few days. The others were from a different location and had a lot of mud still on the shells, which I wanted. Hopefully there was something still living in the mud. I put them in without cleaning them, and I poured the mud water into the aquarium too. This experiment was looking good for about 5 days. The oysters were open and water was flowing through them. And then it all absolutely crashed. My whole office got an odd, nasty smell about it. All of the oysters started decaying. I got an answer to my curiosity. No, the oysters weren't still alive after being on ice. And there didn't seem to be anything else alive in the shells, like pea crabs, which often coexist with oysters, or anything alive on the outside of the shells. I think being on ice for several days did everything in. So I immediately took them out and threw them in the woods. Then I turned the filters back onto the aquarium, and I added an ammonia binder to the water. Speaking of ammonia, cleaning Leon's aquarium is a regular chore here. Keeping the glass clean, filters clean, and also churning up the sand so the bottom layers don't go anaerobic. Leon piles the sand up high here at the front, so the bottom sand needs to be rotated to the top to keep it oxygenated. Have you ever seen the cult classic movie Deliverance? Part of that was shot right here on this amazing river, the Chattooga River, that borders South Carolina and Georgia. I came here today to snorkel and play, but I also want to check on a colony of eastern newts that I discovered here a few years ago. They live at the back of this huge boulder in small water pools in the rock. These things are super alert and elusive. They go through 3 stages of life. These are at the 3rd stage, aquatic adult. Similar to Leon, these newts are able to regenerate limbs. That poor little black kitten could use some of that technology right now. And this is envious. They are even able to regenerate organs, and they can regenerate their heart and even their spinal cord. It would be epic if we could do that. That would be a cure for paralysis. Their stem cell regeneration is apparently very high. A couple of Leon's rowdy second cousins come over and try and get a shout out. Leon hasn't seen them since the family reunion 2 years ago. They're like the cousin Eddie of the family. Another fascinating thing about water life, these minnows are totally trapped here in this pool right now, and will be until a huge rain comes and reconnects this pool with the river. And if that doesn't happen before this little pool dries up, they're doomed. Pools like this can also form isolated gene pools, which is another totally fascinating topic. These circular holes are formed obviously by weaknesses in the rock with water flowing over it, but also by pebbles rolling around in a circle for thousands and thousands of years, slowly carving out these round holes. It's amazing and kind of mind-boggling to think of time in that way, something slowly happening for many thousands of years, a little bit every day, for years and years. There's an old Native American saying, as patient as the water that cuts the stone. That's pretty freaking patient. This is really cool. It's basically a natural round stone pool that feels like you're sitting down in a hot tub, but the water's cold. And there's a hole in the bottom of it that you can swim through, and the river current will pull you right out like a rocket into the center of the river. It's a pretty exhilarating thing. This hole at the top here, though, is a cavern of death. It's the peak of summer now, so the water level is low, and you can actually go down into it. I don't know this guy, but he's going in. You drop down, then duck back out of the shower of water, and you're in an open cavern down there and breathing air. The times I've been in there, I've felt pretty mortal. It's sketchy, and you have to be pretty precise. You're basically stuck down in a stone cavern, and your only way out is to go back through a heavy curtain of water and then go out the side into the rapids. Unfortunately, several people have died there, because when the water level is high, this hole is invisible, and it's like a washing machine. Water is extremely powerful. Shrimp is for dinner tonight. With so many mouths to feed here, we try to be efficient. Leon gets the shrimp before it's cooked, so does the little crab, and the koi get the shrimp shells and tails after it's cooked. Our meal was easy. Nobody came and stole it from us. That isn't always the case, though. The glass shrimp quickly claimed the piece of shrimp I put in the aquarium for the little crab. The smart little crab doesn't react immediately. It assesses the whole situation to be sure it's not a trap. It takes an inventory of where Leon is. It pretends to be a stone for a while. Then it eases over to yank its food away from the glass shrimp. The glass shrimp is totally put out by this, and bravely, or foolishly, goes into the little crab's lair to get its food back. Of course, the little crab won, and the glass shrimp comes out empty-handed. The tiniest of the crabs just watches from a safe distance. Seeing the glass shrimp dejected, I gave it some sinking fish pellets, and all was good. Hopefully the tiniest crab got some too. Of course, when Leon finishes his shrimp, he reaches around in the little crab's lair to see what he can find. Might as well try. Even nearly 2 years after being here, Leon still enjoys jousting. I surprised him this time for a quick match. He always wins. While Leon is busy jousting, the little crab takes the opportunity to snag a piece of food. It knows the importance of timing and opportunity. In addition to jousting with Leon to exercise his claws and basically play, I regularly feed him mussels in the shell for a good claw workout and for entertainment. Oysters, clams, and mussels capture lots of plankton and algae in the wild, and that's also a good addition to Leon's diet. Leon's big claws are his hands and his tools, and they are his intimidation factor that says, Don't mess with me. Listen to the snap. That is the actual sound recorded underwater. So, since I know his power, hand feeding him doesn't always go super smooth. Sometimes Leon does snap fast, and I bail out. Then if I try to grab the shrimp before he does, well, you know, snap. And the little crab is looking and laughing right now. This is the lobster tank where I bought Leon. Anytime I push my little grocery cart by, I peek in. In the next episode, we'll take these kittens in to be checked out by a vet, and we'll go back and try and catch the mother for TNR. We'll also take a trip to the coast of South Carolina to try and rescue some sea life that's been beached and is destined to fry in the summer sun, and bring it back to Leon's old home, the newly set up 125-gallon aquarium. And what's a trip to the coast if you don't stop at the UFO Welcome Center in Bowman, South Carolina? If you want to wear some Leon and share some Leon love in your world, go to leonthelobster.myshopify.com. leonthelobster.myshopify.com is the only place you can get authentic Leon merch, which helps keep him fed and provides the aquarium supplies he needs, and also supplies for Bobby the Karate Cat and the other rescue cats here. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and share it with other friends you think might like meeting Leon and following his journey. We'll see you soon.